To the point, informative, entertaining, and protecting the Second Amendment, welcome back to Elfster's Rifles and Reloading and the review of the 3 MOA Nikon Tactical Spur Micro Red Dot. Enough of the BS, let's get this going. You know how hard it is to try and get 3 micro red dots to line up in one camera shot? It is harder than I can express in words. Anyways, let's get going on the pros and cons of the Nikon Tactical Spur. Now keep in mind that this is the Nikon Tactical Spur on its highest setting, the Vortex Venom Red Dot on its highest setting, and the Romeo 1 on its highest setting. All right, one of the big advantages of the Nikon Spur is its price point. You know, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. If you have to pay more than $150 or $170 for your micro red dot, I probably bypass the Nikon Spur and probably beeline it more towards something like the Vortex Venom with its lifetime warranty. But I routinely see the Nikon Spur on sale, typically on Amazon, for roughly $110 to $120. I've even seen it all the way down to $108. And in my opinion, if you can get it in that $108 to $120 range, it's definitely worth it. Next is its glass. This clear view glass, I am not joking. It is definitely clear in comparison to my other micro red dots, such as this Vortex Venom and the Romeo 1 made by Sig Sauer. And that is definitely where the Nikon Spur is going to shine. Its field of view in terms of price point, you know, usually, like I said, you can get this for about $110. The field of view is definitely bigger in comparison to the Vortex Venom. You know, it's pretty hard to get this Vortex Venom with the mount for under $200. Once in a while, you'll see this set up on sale, usually around $180, and that is an exceptional price for the Vortex Venom, especially with its lifetime warranty. But if you can find the Nikon Spur, being that it comes with its own mount, for roughly $110 to $120, it's a great option for the budget-minded individual. Next is the Nikon Spur's 3 MOA red dot. And in my opinion, it's super important to try and get that red dot as small as possible. You know, some of these red dots, they come with 6 MOA red dots. In my opinion, that's too big. It's nice to try and get a 3 MOA or smaller red dot. The Nikon Spur comes with 10 levels of brightness, and the first 2 levels are night vision compatible. And the Nikon Spur is also rated for 15,000 hours on a CR1632 battery. And it also has a low power battery indicator. And the red dot will shut off approximately after 15 minutes. Also, the Nikon Spur has an IPX7 waterproof performance rating. Now, that doesn't mean that it can be completely submerged underwater. It just means it can be rained on. It's definitely something you're not going to want to get underwater and have underwater for a long period of time. But if you're out in the woods hunting with this particular micro red dot on your firearm and it gets rained on, then it's fine. Now, Nikon claims that the Nikon Spur has a small footprint, which it kind of does, and it is lightweight at 1.1 ounces. But in comparison to, say, something like the Vortex Venom, in my opinion, the Vortex Venom footprint itself is a little bit smaller. But the big pros of where this shines is really its price point, its field of view, and that true color glass. And when I say it is clear as glass, it really is clear as glass. In comparison to the Vortex Venom and the Romeo 1 here, that has a little bit of hue to it, this Nikon Spur glass really is that clear. Now when it comes to the negatives or the cons of the Nikon Spur, first and foremost is the mount. Yes, I mean it does come with a mount, and it's great for options like this Ruger Mark IV that has a Picatinny rail, or something like PSA AKV, where when you're using most likely a AK-47 style firearm, you're going to want to get that mount as low as possible using the low mount. As in this example, the Romeo 5, I got it on the low mount. I do not have like a 1/3 co-witness mount on this, and it's going to be firearms like that, the AK-47, the Ruger Mark IV, and other things like shotguns that have a readily available Picatinny rail that you can mount the Nikon Spur to. It would be nice if Nikon actually supplied a 1/3 co-witness riser that you could easily attach this to something like an AR. And who knows, maybe they might come out with that in the future, being that this micro red dot is pretty new. But the fact that it doesn't come in the box, even at an amazing deal of $120, it's kind of a negative in my opinion. And if you're going to be mounting it on something like a Ruger Mark IV pistol or a shotgun that already has a Picatinny rail on it, then yeah, that's fine and all. But if it's going to be something more like an AR or a PSA AKV, AK-47 that has a rail on it, I can get these Romeo 5 red dots on sale, typically at PSA, shipped for $119. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me to go this route for example, my PSA AKV, my FM9 9mm AR pistol, and for example, my PSA 5.56, I'm actually running the Vortex Strike-Fire 2. And what I really like about this is not only does it come with the mount, but it has the caps and it's ultra durable. And it'd be hard for me to put the Nikon Spur on these particular firearms. And that's where I think the Nikon Spur really shines, is something like a Ruger Mark IV. And another major downfall of the Nikon Spur is trying to attach it directly to a pistol. Something like my SIG P320 here, which I wouldn't remove this Romeo 1, being that it came from the factory that way. It pretty much voids my warranty. But I've heard people having major issues trying to attach the Nikon Tactical Spur directly to a pistol slide. So it's something to keep in mind if you're considering buying the Nikon Spur. Now, one of the nice things about the Nikon Spur is it does shut off after roughly 15 minutes. So that does help increase the battery life of roughly 15,000 hours. But it doesn't have an auto on feature like my Romeo 1, which you can see it's shut off here. It shuts off pretty darn quick. After about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 minutes, this Romeo 1 will shut off, and the battery life on this thing is insane. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, the fact that this Nikon Spur will shut off. It's great for battery life, but it doesn't turn automatically when it senses vibration when you pick up the firearm, and that can be bad for self-defense. So it does help with battery life, but when it comes to self-defense, when you need to pick this up, you're physically turning on the red dot. And in my opinion, that is a downfall of that optic. And that's something to keep in mind when it comes to price point, when it comes to, for example, these three particular micro red dots. Like I said, you can get this Spur for roughly $110, $120 on a pretty good sale, and it's not that hard to find. Usually the Vortex Venom you can usually get for about a really good deal, $175, typically $200. But the Romeo 1 is an awesome red dot. I love it. Auto on, auto off, amazing battery life, great field of view. It's bigger than all three of these. In terms of field of view, the Nikon Spur is in between this Romeo 1 and the Vortex Venom. But then again, this Romeo 1 with the mount is typically about $300. So it's a huge price difference. And one thing I'm really keeping an eye out on is the Romeo Max, and the field of view on that is even larger. But from what I've seen, that Romeo Max is pushing damn near $400 preliminary price. I believe it's not out yet. But the Nikon Spur, heck, if you can get it for that $110 price range and you want to just slap it on a Ruger Mark IV like this, in my opinion, it's perfect for that situation. Now next is the warranty. The Nikon Spur only comes with 5 years. I believe it's the same for the Romeo 1. Now where the Vortex Venom really shines is its warranty. Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive than the Nikon Spur, but that Vortex Venom has a lifetime, no questions asked warranty. 10 years down the road, if this thing breaks, you send it in, they fix it without question. And being that the Nikon Tactical Spur has a 5-year warranty, it's something to keep in mind when making that order. So another con of the Nikon Spur, I noticed at least, was the red dot has somewhat of a bleed out at the top of the glass. And it's not really that bad, and I don't know if I consider it a huge con, but you can notice at roughly about an 1/8 to a 1/16 of an inch at the top of the glass that red dot starts to bleed out. There is no issues on the side. There's definitely no issues at the bottom, but definitely at the top. I don't know why, but that red dot starts to bleed out. So that's something to keep in mind. And you definitely don't see those issues with something like the Vortex Venom. You can see it goes all the way to the top of the glass, bottom, to the sides. And even with the Romeo 1, no issues there either. Now I have all 3 of these micro red dots at their highest setting, and without a doubt the Romeo 1 is the brightest of the 3. Now the Nikon Spur and the Vortex Venom, in my opinion, are damn near identical in terms of brightness at its highest setting, but that Romeo 1 definitely has an advantage. But then again, it's damn near $300. So in my opinion, would I recommend the Nikon Spur? Number 1 is its price point. If you can get it for roughly $110 to $120, in my opinion, it's worth it. And due to its limited mounting capabilities, it's really going to shine on something like this Ruger Mark IV, or for example, NAK if you're going for a micro red dot. And I have mounted it on my PSA AKV. I do have a video of that showing this particular micro red dot on my PSA AKV. You can check out that series. But you know, in my personal opinion, if you're going to be running something like an AR pistol, or for example an AK pistol, man, it really is hard to beat these Romeo 5s that you can usually get at PSA shipped for $119, and that's where these really shine. And this Nikon Tactical Spur really has a purpose, but in my opinion it's kind of limited to something like this example, Ruger Mark IV, maybe a shotgun, but that's about it. Come on, wake up, buddy. So the Nikon Tactical Spur is going to find its home on my Ruger Mark IV, and I really do enjoy it. I've had really excellent accuracy results out of it. I have shot it at 50 and even at 100 yards. All right, not a single issue to feed or eject. And that 3 MOA red dot, a really dinky red dot, really starts to shine at those distances. So I'm not really going to show you the box. No one really cares about that stuff. But it does come with a cover, which is really nice. And it also has a tool for removing the battery cap. And it also has a little screwdriver for adjusting the windage and elevation. I hope you enjoyed this quick little review of the Nikon Tactical Spur. And I honestly believe if you can get this micro red dot for roughly about $110, $120, somewhere in that price range. It truly does have a home, especially on a pistol that has a Picatinny rail. That's where it's really going to shine for the budget-minded. Maybe even a shotgun if it has a Picatinny rail, or something like this PSA AKV that has a Picatinny rail where you absolutely need a low mount. But I think it'd be pretty hard for me to recommend someone getting a Nikon Tactical Spur red dot for something like a PSA AKV, especially when you get these Romeo 5s that come with not only a 1/3 co-witness riser, but also the low mount chip, typically from PSA for $119, which is right in that price range of these Nikon Tactical Spurs, when you can get them on a really good deal off Amazon for roughly $110, $120. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.